Welcome to this briefing on Trade Turbulence 2025, where we'll map how shifting policies and market forces are reshaping global commerce. The opening slide sets the scene with a world map and trend icons to show rising policy shifts and market volatility, preparing us to follow the downstream effects on supply chains, pricing, and strategic alliances. This slide looks at Washington's use of market access as a lever, showing punitive measures aimed at Russian deals and the resulting geopolitical fallout. The visuals suggest a chain reaction where sanctions, questions over India's China Plus One reliability, and congressional scrutiny create uncertainty heading into Q4, leaving renegotiation as a hoped-for but uncertain outcome. Here we focus on sectoral impacts, starting with a margin squeeze hitting generics manufacturers and a landed cost crisis for textiles and gems, where charts point to 20-25% margin pressure and a 90% all-in US cost that makes many suppliers instantly uncompetitive, forcing cancellations and prompting broader trade shifts, policy adjustments, and supply chain reconfiguration. This slide explains how consumer electronics face a price shock and shelf space loss as higher costs for chargers, circuits, and mobile parts drive price jumps and reduced retail presence, while auto and specialty steel exporters confront higher duties and disrupted inputs that push buyers toward Mexico and Turkey and force long-term contract renegotiations and diversification of sourcing. The focus here is EU trade dynamics and global supply chain shifts, where the stalled EU-China investment agreement, unlikely TTIP revival, and growing green protectionism in trade and sustainability chapters are raising due diligence burdens and costs, spurring firms to regionalize supply networks and absorb higher operational and compliance expenses as the post-2025 landscape takes shape. This slide outlines the changing international trade relations landscape, noting tighter US and allied tech controls, expanding Russia-Ukraine export bans with financial implications, and Brazil's neutral safe corridor stance. The combined message is a more fragmented compliance map that increases complexity for global firms and raises the stakes for strategic decision-making. We now address rising trade friction and practical resilience strategies, where tit-for-tat tariffs, investment screening, and copycat remedies create escalation risk, and firms respond with hedge currencies, dual sourcing, alternative logistics, and perishable FTAs to protect margins that are under pressure, aiming to preserve continuity while managing higher compliance and reconfiguration costs. This slide presents a multi-pronged strategic response for 2025 that blends relocation of final assembly to diversify risk, leveraging neutral hubs like Brazil, embedding ESG and EU TSD-compliant data, and adopting AI and blockchain for traceable supply claims, all paired with smarter contract terms that include tariff suspension clauses to improve negotiation leverage and operational resilience. The closing strategic imperatives emphasize a practical playbook, actively track and engage in negotiations while monitoring potential FTAs, shape policy incentives to attract green FDI, and design risk-aware product and pricing strategies that assume border shock costs with disciplined Q1, Q3 monitoring, and Q4 actionable steps to convert intelligence into resilient commercial decisions.